All right, guys, hello, welcome back to the next episode of our Konnersport MyTeam career mode here on F125. I really hope you guys enjoyed the last time out in Monza with the mixed weather thrown in there for that double stop. Very close double stop. We could have had Jackson lose way more positions, but luckily he didn't, as we're coming into the race weekend for Azerbaijan, Baku. We have some events to go deal with and some behind the scenes stuff. We still don't have quite enough money for contracts. If you guys haven't noticed that already, our money hasn't really gone anywhere because we don't have the money for driver contracts for next season, which I'm hoping the drivers that we have in question will stick around long enough for us to get that money saved up for them. So we're gonna go ahead and head right into this event. Replace the components or risk possible issues. Let's see here. We're gonna go medium cost. We'll at least spend 50k on that. All right, we have a few days till the Grand Prix weekend. Let's see here. Messages, points on the board, testing regulation changes. Constructors points milestone. We hit a milestone there. Let's take a look at our season so far. We're 228 points, and Mercedes is starting to pull away on that championship rivalry, as Aiden Jackson leads about 30 points ahead of Callie Mayer in the driver standings with the recent finish. Callie Mayer trying to close the gap. As we continue on, 8 races to go, including this race here. As we're gonna take a quick look at our performance, right? Yeah, let's see here. We're losing a little bit on Mercedes. This was, what screen was I? I'm on R&D. Where's the R&D? Oh. All right, level up on our engineering. No zoom out animation, I believe. Yeah. Progress history, there we go. We still have Jackson up there with Mercedes, and then Mayer is sitting farther back down with Williams and Aston Martin. Williams doing some great progress, as Sauber, Racing Bulls, and Haas are flatlining pretty much for this portion of the season. We have stuff we can do, but we are not going to give them those. We're not going to go into those building enhancements. We're going to go into money saving mode right now for contracts. We're going to be driving as Jackson in the next race, so we're going to go ahead and give Jackson the engine cover for that. I believe that's the only part that we have going. Yeah, we are in money saving mode right now, so we can't do any of this right now. Do we have anything getting unlocked for research? No, we don't. Component management, let's take a look here. 62%, 67%, those guys will be good. 23, 14, 80. I'm gonna go into the heat unit. I think it's a little bit soon, but we're gonna need it. That's in the 64%. We're getting into grid penalty territory now. We're gonna leave the electronics. We're gonna leave the energy store for Jackson as we go from there. And I believe that's all that we can do, so we're going to go ahead and simulate forward.
Unfortunately, it looks like a part we were developing has failed. I'm sorry to say we will need to revisit the development area and redevelop it. Sorry, Chief.
And we've reached endgame talks with Yuki Tsunoda as a possible driver for us next season. We'll go ahead and see you guys after this or during the race weekend.
A warm welcome to you all at home for today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix, a race that in its short history has already proven no stranger to drama, and where a fourth-row start is just about as likely to give you a podium as pole position, with Lance Stroll and Sergio Perez finishing third from there in 2017 and 2018 respectively. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometres and it's made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to a catastrophic consequence for any one of our drivers. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Aiden Jackson lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Meyer, Sainz, Max Verstappen, and Norris, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, and Nico Hülkenberg, Stroll, Behrman, Oscar Piastri, and Hadjar, Ocon, Doohan, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Gabriel Bortoleto, Albon, Lawson, Gasly, and Yuki Tsunoda rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. And striding into our commentary box to join us today, the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Davidson. Look, we know it's not where you start, it's where you finish, but let's talk about the start now. What's there to help the drivers get away well?
Big pressure at the start of the race, Crofty, for all of them up and down the grid, no matter where you are. But the drivers these days, they practice, practice, and practice. They have rigs with them at the circuit where they can sit down with the actual steering wheel from the real car, and they've got lights that they react to. The clutch paddle is tailored around the driver's hands, around their fingers, so they can have optimum position before they start. So there's so much thought and effort that goes into getting these cars off the line.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
All right, here we are. Aiden Jackson pulling up to the pole position spot here in Baku. Callie Mayer pulling in P3 with that penalty for Lewis Hamilton. It is most likely going to be a component penalty that we've seen from multiple drivers. You see Yuki Tsunoda in the back of the field. Not normally where he's at, but our 5 red lights are coming on here in Baku. And we're off to an okay start. We see Leclerc there in the mirror on the left side. We take that outside lane pretty well. And right away, Jackson, Leclerc, Mayer pull away. Verstappen, Norris were side by side going through turn 1, turn 2. A lot of people going 2 by 2 through the first 2 turns. And that gives the top 3 an opportunity to break away from tow. Although that does give Norris fresh air. That's Jackson and Leclerc fighting for the lead. Mayer is just right there. It's a Konnersport sandwich that Leclerc's in right now as we're going through the grid. Sainz, Alonso, and now Hülkenberg. You see the gaps starting to form, but Norris is still able to move as much as he can, try to close in on the top 3. You see the gap there forming. There's another little gap there, as you can hear a little bit of contact we made on the wall as Jackson through the castle section. I believe it was a little gap there between Sainz and Alonso when we heard that contact on the wall, and not much other gaps forming other than Lawson and Bortoleto as we're coming through the fastest section of this track. I don't know what it is about Baku, but it feels good every year that I race on it. So we're on board with Calimere to see if she can close in on the gap. No DRS down this straight, but a lot of ERS usage as we're now on board with Leclerc coming through the fast right-hander. No DRS means gonna have a tow. We're on the same tire strategy here, I believe. Well, it's gonna be us on the hard tires. So Leclerc's gonna have the advantage for this first stint. He pushes, and I believe he let off the ERS, so he's holding on the outside lane, and we cover him off for at least this first lap on the lap 2 as we're transitioning over to Calimere to see if she can close in on Leclerc with DRS here in sector 2 after turn 2, and you can just see how well we're pulling away. The end of lap 2 now, Mayer is just outside of that DRS range. She is trying to close in, but Leclerc is going to be flying past us on a faster set with DRS, and there's not much we can do. So Leclerc holding on to the lead. You can see Mayer losing position to Norris, actually. And then that's Russell and Alonso, and I believe Hamilton and Sainz change positions as well. You see a lot of drivers coming through this grid, changing positions. You see Alonso, Russell fighting through turn 1, more than likely there for P9, P10, as the gaps are really starting to form. The top 4, then Verstappen there, P5, 2.667, the time of going through the recording and editing or doing this commentary. So we're on board with Calimere coming through sector 2. Norris in P3. Leclerc still holding on to a good lead against Jackson. Hamilton P6 behind Verstappen. It's a 2-second gap between Mayer and Verstappen. The end of lap 3, this main strip of the track, we're gonna see a lot of action. We've already seen a lot of action, as it's the first time we've actually gotten that helicam angle. As we see Norris and Mayer fighting for position. Jackson still about a second back behind Leclerc, just outside of the DRS range, so Leclerc is pulling away on those medium tires. Lap 5 now, we're looking at Verstappen looking to push against Lando Norris. 3.8, 3.9 seconds is the gap between Mayer and Jackson, holding on to a provisional podium right now for both of our drivers. We see an easy move on Norris from Verstappen. Hulkenberg passing Sainz for P7 as well, farther back. And that is Alonso holding on to P10 ahead of the 2 passes of Behrman and Ocon. They're in their own little land right now, but lap 6, the next lap, Verstappen is able to make a move on Calimere. 4.8 seconds is the gap now between Jackson and Mayer, 2 teammates. Verstappen pushing on the inside lane there. Not really any risk taken here. A lot of inside curb there. Could have made some contact with the wall. You see Russell and Sainz fighting for position there, and I believe Behrman and Antonelli fighting just outside the points. So we're seeing what kind of move Hamilton can make on Norris, because Verstappen is up into P3 now. Mayer is P4. Norris losing position to Hamilton. A little bit more contact there. You can hear it from Jackson as we're about 2 seconds back behind Leclerc. And it's just this sector 2 was really, end of sector 1, start of sector 2 is really tough for me to get these apexes down and getting the car out, getting the power down and getting the car going outside of the corner. But we are holding on decently. 4.7 seconds, now 4.6 seconds. We're on board with Hamilton again, looking to make a move on at Calimere. Lando Norris back in P6. Hamilton making the same move that Verstappen made on Calimere a couple laps ago, as we're on lap 8 now. As we notice Carlos Sainz dropping from position on Alonso, and he's dropping a few positions. So I went back to look here, and he's actually going to be going through his the first pit window. So Sainz is the first one to come in off of medium tires. Nobody else coming in. A decent stop for him. See Lawson there on the outside of turn 1. Leclerc now leading 8 on lap 8, 3 seconds ahead. 4.2 is the gap between Jackson and Verstappen, and then another 1.9 between Verstappen and Hamilton. So The top 4, top 5 are really widespread. We see Mayer within a second of Hamilton. Norris is close behind too. Hulkenberg is the next gap, 3.3 behind Norris. Russell, Alonso, and Behrman for our top 10. So Antonelli, Piastri, they're fighting for that top 10 spot. Lap 9 now. We're coming through the end of Sector 1 into Sector 2. We're on board with Lando Norris trying to chase down Callie Mayer. Coming through this middle section before the castle section. It's gonna be the first retirement of the race weekend. A lot of engine components are being worn out and being switched out. I think Lando Norris would have been better off with that grid penalty, but he's gonna be taking an engine failure here, not even halfway through this race. Does not help McLaren for their constructors fight right now, as he is gonna be out of this race, leaving Piastri to fend by himself. Lap 11 now. You can't really see it up ahead, but we see Leclerc coming into the pits off of his, I believe, hard tires. Or no, medium tires. Leclerc off of the medium tires onto hard tires, so he's going to be doing the early pit stop. Second pit stop so far that we've seen, as he had a slow exit from the front right, I believe it was. So we see Russell coming in as well off of the medium tires. Coming through the rest of the top 10. So Russell came out. There's more people passing down the field. Jackson holding on to the lead by 2.2 seconds. Verstappen, over time, is closing in from that grid penalty, and Hamilton also is closing in from his grid penalty. He would have started on pole. He's already P3, so you can just tell how much speed that Ferrari has, as we're now on board with Isaac Hadjar, P19, on lap 12, being chased down by Pierre Gasly. See the backfield, just the gaps are really forming for these guys, as it looks like Hadjar is going to be moving well, it's the castle section. They're going to be moving slow. But coming out of the castle section, we see Hadjar pulling off to the side. It's not going to be an engine failure. It's more likely going to be a component failure. No smoke coming from the car, so that's going to be 2 DNFs for this race. We're actually halfway through the race now. So we're seeing Hamilton in the pits, switching off onto, I believe, what are hard tires. Get a better angle here, hopefully. I think those were mediums. We're going back through the grid. Antonelli dropping down in positions. Russell, P14. Sonoda up to P14 right now. I don't know if he's hit yet or not, but Jackson still holding on 2 seconds ahead of Verstappen. Callie Mayer 7.3 seconds behind. And at this point, we're really hoping to see how much of a gap we have coming out of the pits. But Leclerc is already up into P4. So that's at least 13 seconds. But Verstappen is going to be coming in behind us. So it's going to be Jackson, Verstappen into the pits. And it's going to be Callie Mayer leading Leclerc for the provisional lead, because they haven't pit yet. Leclerc and Mayer haven't pit yet, to my knowledge. Unless he did earlier. I'm not, just hard to remember, because so much is going on in this race weekend. It's just hard to keep track of. We're going to be coming out behind Hulkenberg in P4. Verstappen 1.3 seconds behind. So they had a good stop. We had a decent stop. Lap 16 now, the end of this lap. Our tires are warmed up enough, but it's not going to be enough to defend against Verstappen. You see Callie Mayer coming into the pits. Hulkenberg coming into the pits, so that keeps Verstappen from making the move on us. So we're going to be covering him off for now. And out of nowhere, Hamilton is right there side by side with Verstappen. Leclerc still holding on to the lead. Jackson P2. 5.7 seconds is the gap. As we're going through the rest of the grid, we missed Callie Mayer's pit stop. Seemed like they had a good one. Russell P7, Hulkenberg coming out. Carlos Sainz coming in. I believe it was Albon who came in earlier. Unless Carlos Sainz is coming in for a second pit stop. It's just like I just said it. It's so hard to keep track of these guys going through. Just trying to recuperate the skill. I'm trying to regain the skills because I haven't done commentary on my videos for a few months. Because if you guys remember, we took a break after like halfway through the first season of F1 24. We're on board with Verstappen making an easy move on Jackson for P2. Jackson out, breaks him into turn 1. Hamilton holding on a P4, 2 seconds back behind the two that are fighting. 4.2 seconds coming out of turn 2 as we fight. Leclerc is just holding on to that lead. That lead's gonna close sooner or later. Verstappen yet again making another move. I don't know if there was a little bit of contact there, but we've had a very rough race against Verstappen here in Baku. We're gonna do the same thing this time. Outbrake him on the outside. We're gonna push him wide. He's gonna have to give way. We're gonna hold on to P2 on lap 19 for now. And it's just gonna keep going back and forth until we deal with each other's tire life. On board with Verstappen now. He's gonna have another attempt down the main drag. This time 3/10 back. Not enough to make a move into turn 1. No dive bomb from Verstappen, luckily, as he's gonna make another attempt, hopefully here on this sector or turn 2 DRS, but it's not gonna be enough. He's gonna have to wait till that main drag yet again. Just a lot of back and forth throughout this race. Lap 25 now as we're on board with Jackson. That basically tells you after that last attempt from Verstappen, we didn't see him anymore. He just decided to take care of his tires, and this was our last attempt. We're within a second of Leclerc, who's currently in the lead, and I believe it's Verstappen still in P3. Yeah, we can see the Red Bull there in the back as we're coming up to turn 2, and just pushing as much as we can as Aiden Jackson. You can see and hear at the back end trying to give out or come out from behind us. And this is another opportunity for the team's first race win. It could have been a double podium, but just Calimere did not have the tire strategy or the pressure to put on the other drivers. The Ferraris especially were quick in this race. So we try to get the power down again. Not quite enough here as we're coming up to the castle section. I was honestly racing behind Leclerc. Was making me think about his incident here in the castle section, wondering if that was going to happen. We had the two cars retire, and they weren't really any area where you could keep the race resuming. We haven't had any safety cars, if you guys remember, since we had that safety car bug where everybody ended up getting lapped. We're coming through to sector 3 now. It's our last opportunity to get Jackson on the top step of that podium. We need a good exit from this left-hander. It's not going to be enough. Leclerc is going to be pulling away. We have as low downforce as possible on this car without giving up too much grip. Just not going to be enough. That's going to be Leclerc P1, Jackson P2 for another podium finish. A good amount of points for us here this weekend. It's going to be Verstappen P3.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory, he wins!
And that's 2 wins in a row now, of course, Crofty. And it marks the fact that it's not a fluke. So, you know, their head's in the right space. What more can we see going forwards?
It's what they've all been racing towards, waiting for them. High above the pit lane is our podium. And for the lucky 3, it's time to stand on it. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc, Charles Leclerc on top. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
All right, there we have it, an eventful end to this Baku Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We had a big fight against Leclerc earlier in the race, and then we had a big battle against Max Verstappen. All right, before and after that pit window, and then Max Verstappen just started falling off. We tried to take care of our tires as much as possible, and we were closing in on Charles Leclerc. You guys saw we were within a half a second there at the end. If we didn't make those mistakes there in the castle section, we probably could have passed him on the line. Closest Aiden Jackson has ever gotten this season to a race win, and I'm sure there's gonna be plenty more this late in the season because they're tracks that we're not really familiar with, but we still do good at. And Callie Mayer dropping from P3 to P6 against George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. That puts our fight against Mercedes that much closer with the double scoring. Well, us scoring better than Mercedes in this race. That puts Aiden Jackson 40 points ahead of Callie Mayer as he's closing in on Oscar Piastri. And then we passed Mercedes with that scoring finish, that improved scoring finish by 2 points. So we're still in this fight. I gotta double check what our score is to. I think it's still like 300 or something like that, or 270. I'm not quite sure, but we'll have to wait and see in the next episode as we are pushing our team to the top 3. We're about, what is that, 104 points behind Red Bull. But right now we need to focus on defending against Mercedes for that P4 spot and that little bit more money in that prize pool as we head on into the next weekend, which is Singapore. So I hope you guys enjoyed this race. I know I did. My hands are sweating still, and we'll see you guys in the next one.